I want to address this issue of these, there's a ballot initiatives going on as it pertains to abortion. Right now, we've been hearing, Democrats beating this drum after the Dobbs decision. Well, the polling shows, the American people are not motivated by that. They are motivated primarily by the economy, the fact that they can't put food on the table, that it's getting, extremely difficult to fill up the tank in the car, and they're having to make some serious choices about whether or not they eat, they drive somewhere, they take the kids to a sporting event. And so those are the driving issues. Now, I don't think the Democrats want it that way, but that's what's happening. But I want to draw your attention to something to show you kind of how significant this issue of abortion is to the left. In Michigan, we've talked about this before, there is Proposition 3. Now, this would, like California, we're going to talk about this tonight with Pastor Jack Hibbs, who's out in California leading the effort against Prop 1. That's going to be on our Pray Vote Stand event tonight. But Prop 3, they are wanting to put abortion into the state's constitution, but it's more than abortion. It would, some argue, would give minors the ability to get an abortion without parental consent and even transgender surgeries. As how far it would go. Now, here's what is significant about this. In Michigan, this ballot initiative has raised more than $57 million, more than any of the political campaigns in the state, more than the governor's race. Money is flowing in. It's coming in from people like George Soros, a lot of dark money, but you've got George Soros, you got Michael Bloomberg that's putting money in there. All of these leftists, they realize that if they can succeed in Michigan in doing this, they want to take this to other states. So all of our listeners in Michigan, be aware of what's on the ballot with Prop 3. You need to stop it in its tracks in Michigan. All right, I want to bring in Travis Weber. He is the Vice President for Policy and Government Affairs here at the Family Research Council. And, we've been talking a lot about the election. But we've given this warning, but I can't sound the alarm too often. Immediately following the election, we're going to go into a lame duck session of Congress. And this is going to be probably two of the most dangerous months in a modern political history, because there are already about a dozen bills teed up in the Senate that, if passed, would have significant implications for religious freedom in this country, for voting rights, and a host of other things. So joining me now is Travis Weber, Vice President of Policy and Government Affairs here at the Family Research Council. Travis, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the lame duck session that will begin immediately following the election on the 14th, the Monday after Senate returns. And top of the list of the things that they want to focus on, the majority leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, has said he wants to make the so-called Respect for Marriage Act a primary focus. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Tony, it's a problematic bill. It passed the House, including with some Republican support. It's in the Senate now, and senators, Democrats, are trying to do what they can to pass it. I think so far, sufficient attention has been, enough attention has been brought to the religious freedom problems with the bill to get attention by a lot of Republicans who are concerned about religious freedom. There's significant unresolved issues with the bill as far as its religious freedom implications. But going back to why they're moving this, they're trying to pass a bill that would codify same-sex marriage as a matter of federal law and also require a recognition of such marriages between states. Now, we know the Supreme Court dealt with this issue in Obergefell. They stepped outside the bounds of the court's jurisdiction and constitutionalized the issue of same-sex marriage. But now Congress, Democrats in Congress want to pass it as a matter of legislation as well. So we're obviously concerned about it, but also noting the religious freedom problems in addition to the bad policy decision regarding same-sex marriage, religious freedom problems. And let me point out two specific areas, Tony. One is the creation of a national public policy that this would likely further cement, because a national public policy in favor of same-sex marriage, which legislation would help solidify, would then be used to argue for the removal of tax-exempt status from religious schools and nonprofits, and further marginalize Christians who disagree with the legitimacy of same-sex marriage, saying that's not marriage at all. But that would be put outside the bounds of proper debate, and religious liberty concerns would be overridden because it would be argued that a national public policy has been put into place. So there's a host of other problems solidifying the concerns that Jack Phillips and others have been raising, and this bill would make it easier to continue to override such religious liberty cases. But for all these reasons and more, we're obviously concerned that this would be passed and snuck in after the election during this critical few months in the lame duck session.
And this is not speculation. I mean, we've seen in the last 7 years since Obergefell how this attack on religious freedom has taken place. But this, by placing it into federal law, having Congress saying, yeah, we agree with the court's redefinition of marriage, that essentially locks into place this hostility toward traditional religious and conservative views on marriage. Very quickly, we're almost out of time, but where can people find out more information and what do they need to do?
Yeah, so Tony, frcaction.org/lame duck. They can go there, take action, tell their senators they oppose these pro-abortion, anti-marriage, anti-freedom bills, including the Respect for Marriage Act, that are under threat of being passed during the lame duck or likely to be passed. Whole host of bills, but they can go to that website that we have an ability for them set up there to take action and tell their senators why they oppose these bills, and their senators should stand strong during the lame duck. So it's all available at frcaction.org/lame duck.
All right, Travis Weber, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.